All right, y'all. It finally happened. I hit the wall, the same wall that I've hit so many times before when I get too attached to my seeking, my striving, my grasping for truth, for knowledge, for, I want to say wisdom, but I know wisdom emerges through experience. And inside of hitting that wall, which I've come to know, more intimately these times, right? Healing is not a linear journey, it's a spiral. The same things keep coming up because we are deepening in our own consciousness and our ability to face that same wall, whatever your wall is, with a different consciousness. And my wall is the overachieving wall, the perfectionist wall, again, the seeking for truth, and the frustration in not getting the outcome when conceptually I know this is a journey. I know this is part of it, right? This is a path that many of us are walking, which is probably why you're watching this video with me here, sharing the wall that I hit. But the truth that emerged in hitting the wall was that I had forgotten to practice the art of surrender, which is fascinating because 2 years ago, surrender was my word of the year. And I went on a very typical way of Stephanie deep dive research of learning all the different modalities of surrender and the different types of teachings of surrender. And here I was again, 2 years later, facing that same wall that I ran up into. But this time with different tools and different ways to move through the feelings and the emotions. And I found myself picking this book back up, Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender by Dr. Hawkins. If you've read this or not, I have so many underlined passages from this book. But I'll read you kind of one element of how he defines surrender or the practice of it. Let's see. In order to surrender a feeling, sometimes it's necessary to start by relinquishing the feeling that there is about a particular emotion or the underlying payoff of that emotion. Feelings are not the real self, whereas feelings are programs that come and go. The real inner self always stays the same. Therefore, it's necessary to stop identifying transient feelings as yourself. We surrender a feeling by allowing it to be there without condemning, judging, or resisting it. We simply look at it, observe it, and allow it to be felt without trying to modify it. With the willingness to relinquish a feeling, it will run out in due time. So, a lot in that with it's interesting because, chicken or the egg, do feelings lead to thoughts or do thoughts lead to feelings? But the dilemma that I found myself in, and, whatever your dilemma is, we all have our own from to experience. Let's get my iPad going here so I can draw my little picture that I experienced. So for me, it was a journey from feeling what I'll say just as disconnected from source to almost like a channel, right? Like pure connection. And kind of sitting again the wall, my lovely pink wall right here, right? Like bumping up consistently against this wall. Why can't I get all the way here? What's wrong with me? Why do I keep going through the same cycle? And the aha I had when I came back to this concept of surrender was I've spent so much of my time surrendering from negative emotions, right? Surrendering from resistance. And I kind of unlocked, almost like what feels like a little bit of a gap, right? So, like, I created a little bit of a bridge for myself in recognizing surrender isn't just from the feelings and the resistance and the emotion, but it's also surrendering to the divine connection that I'm seeking. Meaning, surrender can almost, it's like a new concept for me, but surrender is almost similar to receiving. Can I truly surrender to allowing myself to receive this connection that I'm seeking? You guys follow? Like, can I really give myself the gift and allow myself to feel all these feelings that I've been resisting? So I have another video where I kind of talk about with visuals the journey of surrender. And it's kind of interesting because it was almost a year ago or a couple years ago now. But this has been a fascinating kind of coming back to that initial light that we are, right? Surrendering to. So it created a perspective shift. And what's also fascinating from a more meta perspective is all of this right here are just labels that my mind is creating, right? And all of these labels are ultimately just an illusion, just a game that my ego is playing with myself, telling me that I'm even needing to move from a state to a state when in reality, all there is. It just is, right? There's just being, nature. So it's kind of fascinating, again, when I'm stuck and maybe you can relate. For me, it's this disconnection with source to connection with source. Maybe for you, it's a different emotion, right? Like, where are you standing now? What are you trying to get, to gain, to achieve? Is it financial? Is it relationships? Is it love? Is it healing? And instead of getting stuck in this from state, right? Can I surrender to and give myself the gift of receiving the end result, the desire that I'm trying to attain? And for those that are really into the inner work, can I really be the witness in this entire journey, recognizing, that it's all one, it's already done. There's some people say, like, when the desire arises, the ego mind like immediately steps in and starts creating labels and stories and what have you, starts all working on the how to. How am I going to make this desire a reality for myself? A cleaner way, a more holistic way, the desire arises and you affirm it's already done. Because, you might argue when a desire arises, it's just coming from that same wholeness space that we're already living in, the abundance, right? Love, joy, healing, bliss, whatever it is. It's just arising. And I think that's the ultimate journey of surrender and how David Hawkins talks about it. It's like release, just continuously, moment to moment to moment, allow things to flow through, right? Desire comes up and it goes back down. A new emotion arises and it comes back down. But residing in the place that we are already whole, right? That we're already whole beings. We're already perfect exactly as we are. There's nothing to do, nothing to attain. Everything is here in this moment. And so for me, a way out of surrendering from was the perspective shift of surrendering to. And I'll just leave you with another little passage from his book where he says, make a decision that freedom is more desirable than having a negative feeling. So it really speaks to, what are you surrendering to? And ultimately, can I just let go of all of it? Even the attachment to the desired state. Trusting in with certainty, knowing that it's already done by just sitting and just constantly using surrender as a practice, as a moment to moment practice to allow things to flow in and flow out, flow in and flow out. So just something, what I'm sitting with right now. Curious your thoughts, comments, your own journey with surrender. Would love to hear it in the comments below. And it's definitely a practice, constantly moving through, constantly breathing in and out, releasing the resistance, right? And becoming aware and not labeling and judging the resistance, which has been a big, I think, a deepening and a reminder for myself inside of this journey. Letting go of the judgment, the harshness that I have for myself. So with that, my friends, be well. If you haven't already, we'd love for you to subscribe to this channel, support these thoughts, and as always, doing this alongside each of you who are equally on a journey of seeking your own truth. Talk to you soon.